Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I realised I had the wrong glasses on then, which is not going to help me. What are we doing today? We're having a look at a puzzle called Vampires by Mad-Tyas, or Mad-Tyas, I suppose. And I've read the rules of this one, and they are indeed quite mad. But this has a 100% approval rating on Logic Masters Germany, which is a hard thing to earn. And a lot of absolutely amazing comments. There was one comment which said something like, "This is the most satisfying puzzle I have ever solved in my life." So this ought to be excellent. It's been recommended to us a couple of times with fulsome praise. And we just have to get our heads around the mad vampire rule and we will be good to go. And I will read you the mad vampire rule in a moment or two. I have some birthdays to do first. Let's start with Brian Henderson Sellers. It's your birthday today. And I know this because your wife Anne and Kendall wrote to say that you enjoy watching. And I know that you struggle to complete the Patreon rewards every month, but you're getting closer and closer, so keep going. I do think next month's February's reward by Glum Hippo, this could be your time. So Brian, anyway, I hope you have obviously a brilliant birthday today with lots of cake. Now Victoria, you've turned 25 today on the 25th of January, and you're over there in Halifax, Nova Scotia of all places. So I hope you have a brilliant birthday, and thank you for the lovely email. Now this I've been given a pronunciation challenge for the next one. It's Lauren from your best buddy Mario, but apparently Lauren, your nickname is Lutzi. I think I could be butchering that horribly, but Lutzi, I hope you have a brilliant birthday, obviously. And then finally, I've got a big apology to make to Lauren. Lauren, I missed your birthday on the 21st of January. I do not know how I did this, but your cousins Charlotte and Mindy wrote to me and asked me to shout you out. And I think it's because their email arrived over Christmas time and I somehow didn't put it in my diary. So I really apologise. But Lauren, I hope you had a brilliant day with lots of cake, and I hope it didn't ruin it too much that I didn't wish you a happy birthday then. I apologise. Now, what else do I need to do? I need to read out some names for correct solvers of the J. Dyer numeric alchemy hunt. I almost said the answer there, which I probably better not do, even though the competition's over. And yeah, the praise this hunt's been getting, I have to say, it's right up there with the Fistamafel hunt. People are absolutely lost in admiration. Well, and if you've watched the last two videos on Cracking the Cryptic, or at least my last two videos, you will know, J. Dyer is some sort of setting genius. But very well done to Michelle Koopmanch. Could be Michael Koopmanch as well. I'm not sure. Kapateki, Nadine and Tobias, Harrison Beer, James South and Gwen Kelly, Yannick Tremblay, Patrick Nisi, Thought Bite, Peyton Lee, Dirk Van Bergen, Daniel G, Matthew Brockwell, Eric Propfy, Robin Bonner, and our best to Mayor, Jay Redden, Freddie Carver, Jolien Bloomfield, and Chris Batty. All of you sent in the correct answers. Now, without further ado, let us tackle this perfectly rating Vampires puzzle by Mad-Tyas, and I will read you the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means we've got to put the numbers 1 to 9 once each in every row, column, and 3x3 box. In cages, digits must not repeat and have to add up to the total given in the top left corner of the cage, so normal killer Sudoku rules. But the value a cell adds to the cage total can be altered by the vampire rule. Now, 9 cells in the grid are vampires. They have to be filled with one complete set of the digits 1 to 9. Each row, column and marked 3x3 box contains exactly one vampire cell. Vampire cells must not repeat in cages. Vampire cells must not repeat in cages. Okay. There also are 9 prey cells. following the same rules as vampire cells. So there are a load of vampire cells dotted around this grid that sort of obey normal Sudoku rules. So we can't have 2 in a row, or 2 in a column, or 2 in a box, or 2 in a cage, I think it said. There are also a whole load of prey cells in the grid which obey the same rules. So if that was a prey cell, this cell couldn't be a prey cell because they'd be in the same column. And then it says a cell can only have one of these roles. Okay. Now, for cage totals, prey cells contribute 0. Vampire cells contribute the sum of the digits in the vampire cell and the prey cell in the same marked 3x3 box. I mean, this is absolutely mental. So let's have a look at the example and see if we can understand it. I don't know what colours are what, so we're going to have to work that out. Right, this 9 cage is not adding up to 9. Right, so I think this 2 is a vampire. Because if I understand the rules correctly, what's happening here is that the total of 9 is being made up by a 4 plus the vampire itself, which is a 2, plus the prey cell in that 2x2 box. Obviously, we're going to be working in 3x3 boxes in the real grid. But, okay, and that does work then, because look at the 2 here. This 2 clue, or 2 cage, this 3, because it's in the prey cell, is ignored. And so the only thing that contributes to the total of the cage is the given 2, or not the given 2, the hard-earned 2, probably in row 3, column 1. Let's do another one. Let's look at this 5 cage, because that looks broken. How on? Oh, I see. Right, the 5 cage has both a vampire and a prey cell. So the prey cell is the 4. So the 4 doesn't count. And the 3, oh, this is vicious. The 3... collects the 2 prey cell in its 2x2 box to add up to 5. Oh my goodness me. I mean, that example has just convinced me that this is some sort of satanic work. Mad-Tyas, what have you done? I'm not sure it's anything good, my friend. Let's see. The way to play is to click the link under the video. As usual, do have a go yourselves. You should be taken to a page that looks identical to the one I'm faced with, and you can play on whichever device takes your fancy. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And this 24 cage looks broken, doesn't it? That must have a vampire cell in it. Because you can't make 24 in 2 cells. So let's just think about how this is working. This is working by saying it's going to have a vampire in it. So effectively, yeah, okay, so the role of the vampire is to almost increase the number of cells in the cage by 1. So it's saying the 24 is made up of those 2 cells plus some other cells somewhere in this box that is effectively being collected up in the cage. Now, I mean, there's no way that that contains a prey cell as well. This is a proper True Blood type crossword. True Blood was one of my favourite series I ever watched on television. Suki. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Think, Simon. So there's no prey cell in there, because then the other 2 cells, well, even with a vampire cell, would have to add, the average of them would be 12, which is nonsense. So there is a vampire cell in there. Now we have to decide on colours for vampire cells, don't we? What was the example using? Let's copy that. The vampire was the blue cell, so we'll make that blue. That's definitely got a blue cell in it. A vampire cell in it, it's obviously got a blue cell in it because both of the cells are blue. The 4 cage, that's got to have a prey cell in it because one of the digits in that cage is broken and it can't count to, you can't add 3 different digits and get 4 in Sudoku. The minimum you get would be 6. Now, can that have a vampire cell in it? No, because it can't have 2 prey cells. Now, let me just check the rules there. Yeah, vampire cells must not repeat in cages, and it says that the prey cells follow the same rules as vampire cells. So we can only have 1 prey cell in this cage, and if we were to have a vampire cell, effectively we'd be we'd be increasing the number of cells in the cage back up to 3 again, and we know 3 different digits can't add up to 4. So this cage has a, what was it? Was it a yellow digit in it? It's got a yellow digit in it, but I don't know where it goes. But it doesn't have a blue digit in it. See, this is where I'm starting to worry. Do I have to have 2 colour schemes going on? Sort of cells that can be vampires and cells that can't be vampires, and then a separate 2 colours for cells that can be prey and cells that can't be prey. That's going to get horrific. I don't want to do that unless I absolutely have to, which I'm guessing I may well have to. There's another 4 down there, so that 4 must be the same as that 4. Same number of digits. I don't know whether it... I don't know. I don't think it makes a difference that it crosses the box. I think because you can't repeat a prey cell or a vampire cell in a cage, it sort of amounts to the same thing. 30 in 3 cells doesn't work, does it? That's got to have a vampire. Oh, right. There we go. There's a deduction, a solid deduction. That cell is blue because one of these is blue, and we know there must be a vampire in a 3-cell cage because you can't get 3 different digits to add up to 30. So that must be a vampire. Which makes me want to say that that is a natural 17 cage. How could that 17 cage not be an 8-9 pair? I think it is an 8-9 pair. We can't put a prey cell in there because that will cancel out the value, and we can't put a vampire cell in there because that's a vampire cell. So that cell, these 2 cells are totally natural. So maybe we can get away with 3 colours. We'll have actually, I'm now thinking maybe I need to, let me think about this. These are the choices that really matter to me. I want to have like cells that are natural. I love using my green colour as well. Maybe I'll stick with this for a bit. I mean my dark green, but if I've got that in there, maybe this is okay. I wasn't doing anything logical in my brain there, apart from thinking about colours, which I shouldn't get distracted by. So this is a real cage. Oh, okay. I bet you that this is under some sort of pressure to do with 8s and 9s. Is that what's going on here? Those 2 digits are natural, because if there was a prey cell, or in here, it would be negated, and we'd have 3 different. So at the moment we've effectively. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Right. Sorry. I should take my own advice. So what I've said. Okay. Right. I should take my own advice. So this 30 cage is made up of 4 different digits at the moment. If we were to put a prey cell in there, it would be down to 3 digits and it couldn't add up to 30. But it's adding up 4 different digits. So it is the digits 6, 7, 8 and 9 somehow. Those are not 8 and 9, so they are a 6-7 pair. That digit must be an 8 or a 9 by Sudoku. And that means that the other digit, there's a prey cell somewhere in this box, which is an 8 or a 9. That's being added in by this cell, which is a 6 or a 7. And I can do the same thing with the 24 cage, can't I? 24 in 3 different numbers is always 7, 8, 9. But, okay, and there's a 7 in here by Sudoku. Because there's a 7, 8, 9 triple now. Oh, this is a 6 now. I've got a digit. This is a 6 by the fact that there's a 7, 8, 9 triple. So that's a 7. So that's 7 is the vampire. So the 7 up here is not the vampire. The 8 or the 9 is the vampire. and it's picking up an 8 or a 9 somewhere in this box as well. Oh, right. Okay. We're going to have good memory to do this, because just thinking of, there's no way I can keep a little note of this somehow on this grid, and it was going to be a bit dodgy to do that. But we know that the prey cell in this box, which I know is in one of those cells, I could make them all yellow, but that seems a bit OTT, doesn't it? The prey cell in this box is an 8 or a 9 in order to get my 30 cage to add up to 30. The prey cell in this box is an 8 or a 9, because I know there's a 7 in here and I need an 8 or a 9 to add on to the 8 or the 9 vampire I've got here to get me up to my 24. So we've used up, between them, these two boxes use up the prey 8 and 9. They use up the vampire 7, and they use up the vampire 8 or 9 that's in that cage, but I don't know what that is. Now, what does that mean? Right. I think there is something going on in this column now, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to pencil mark slightly excessively for a moment or two and just think about this, because what I'm thinking about is, where is the yellow cell in this column? Because I know it's not here, because the yellow cell in this box is an 8 or a 9, and that cell is not an 8 or a 9. I know it's not here because the yellow cell in this box is an 8 or a 9, and that is not an 8 or a 9. So there is a yellow cell down here, which is cancelling out the value of itself. So could it be in the 7 cage? No. Because if it was in the 7 cage, the other digit in the 7 cage would have to be a 7, and it can't be. So those two cells are green. These two cells are green. And that cell is yellow. That's the only place we can put yellow, which is cancelling itself out of the 19 cage. So the 19 cage... Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. Wow. So the 19 cage now needs a vampire in it, because you can't make two cells add up to 19, and we've got the prey in there already. And where does the vampire go? Well, it doesn't go in the same row as another vampire, so that's a vampire. Suck it. And here we go again. What can we say about this digit? That's probably got to be very high. Well, actually, that might be true, because that's probably got to be very low. I'm going to try this again on this row. 1 second a minute. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. Now, oh, no, it's not quite the same. It's not the same. Right. Right, but these have to be natural, don't they? These can't be vampires because of this 7, which is the vampire in the row. And if we were to make one of them prey, it would delete itself and the other digit would have to be 7. That doesn't work. So those are both green. That's a vampire. You can't repeat. You can't repeat prey. Oh, this is good enough. It's going to get me this. Oh, this is lovely. This is weird. It's absolutely weird, but you can see how, or you can sense how beautifully this has been constructed. Now, you can't have two preys in a cage, so this is not able to be prey, which means it's not yellow, so it is green because it's not blue. And then we know this is not yellow because it's not the 8 or a 9 I need to add to this cage to get to 30, so that is green, which means this is yellow, which means these are not yellow, which means that is yellow in the 4 cage. Now, that digit is an 8 or a 9 by the majesty of this 24 situation, where we've got an 8 or a 9 in here as the vampire, and we need another 8 and 9 to accompany the 7 to get us to the 24 total. Now, that means these two squares Now, am I about to make a logical error here? I was about to say these have to be a 1-3 pair, but that might not be true. No, it actually is true. No, hang on. Now I'm losing. No, hang on. Now I'm getting confused between yellows and blues. Sorry. I think this is a 1-3 pair, isn't it? It is a 1-3 pair. It is a 1-3 pair. I can't... Yeah, I've got a yellow in there which cancels itself out. If I was to have a blue in here as well, I'd be increasing the number of cells in the cage to 3. Okay, that's not going to work. So these are both green. This is a 1-3 pair to add up to 4. This square is not a 1 or a 3 now. So that's 2, 4, 5. Maybe. There's no... This is a natural 7 cage, which hasn't got a 1 in it now, because it can't have a 6 in it. So the 1 in this row is in one of those two cells. Now, can that actually be a 1? I doubt it. I don't think that can be a 1. Because if that's a 1, this cell has to deliver 18's worth of value to the cage, because that's not counted. That's yellow. Now, it could be a 9, but then it would need to pick up a 9 in the prey cell. That would put 2 9s in the box, so I don't think that can be a 1. So the 1 in this row is now known to be here. Now, and the corollary of that I'm seeing is that because this is a 7 cage, the form of 7 not used in this cage must exist between those two cells. In other words, those two cells must add up to 7. So if that's 2, 5, that's 3, 4. And if that's 3, 4, that's 2, 5. So the fact this can't be a 3 means this can't be a 4, is the way I'm seeing that. And probably... Oh. Well, I was going to look at this digit, but I'm just seeing there's some Sudoku we can do as well. There's quite a lot of Sudoku. Because if that's... Yeah, so now the yellow in this box is in one of those two squares by Sudoku, which means those two squares are green because they're not blue. This whole box is now green because we've got the prey and we've got the blue. The rest of this box is green because we've got the vampire and the prey. And one of the... Right, and that cell's vampire, so that's not vampire. So there's a vampire living in the 10 cage in box 8, which means that cell's green. There's also a 7 living down here by Sudoku. Assuming my pencil mark there is correct. Now, that 7 cage can't have a 1 in it because there's no 6 in it, so that can't be a 1. Here we go again. That can be a 1. Oh, I'm not sure. If that was a 1... Oh, hang on. I've got a 10 cage here with a vampire in it, which is then going to add that digit into the total. Okay, so those... Right. So those 3 digits add up to 10. That's done it. That's absolutely beautiful logic, actually. I think this does. I think this forces this to be a 1. And the reason, let me explain, is that if I'm right about those 3 digits adding up, these 3 digits adding up to 10, I think that must be right. Because the vampire adds to that. So those 3 digits add up to 10. Those 2 digits add up to 17, which means those 5 digits, sorry, those 2 digits add up to 7. So these 5 digits add up to 17. Now, can you make 5 digits add up to 17 if you don't use a 1? Well, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 add up to 20. That's more than 17. There is a knowledge bomb for you. So that doesn't work. So there must be a 1 in this congregation of 5 cells. And the 1 by Sudoku has to now go here because it can't live in the 7 cage. So that's not a 1. We've got these 2 digits now add up to 9. Well, the only thing I'm seeing that's interesting there, it looks like it wants to be 2, 7, doesn't it? But they can't be a 4, 5 pair. Because if this was a 4, 5 pair, that 7 cage would be broken. There wouldn't be a way of making it add up to 7. So this is either 2, 7 or it's 3, 6. And the 7, if it was a 7 down here, the 7 is not allowed to be the vampire. Hang on, is this what I've got wrong? Maybe I can't have a 7 in here because I've already had a vampiric 7. No. Okay, the other digit. So, okay, if that is a 2, 7 pair, the 2 could be the vampire and collect the 1. So this, right, okay, so I can't necessarily say that this hasn't got a 7 in it. That digit's the same as that digit by Sudoku, because whatever that is goes in there now in box 8, and therefore it goes there. Those 2 digits are the same. I'm going to note that. I will give that a little A in the corner so that we don't have to trespass on our colouring. Right, in fact, A is now up there. Can you put A? Oh, you can put A in there if it's the cancelling digit, can't you? Well, or if it accompanied a cancelling digit. So if that was an 8 and went in there and wasn't cancelled, then we'd have to cancel the other digit. But if that was a 9, if that was a 9 and it went in there, then it would have to be cancelled and go in there with an 8, which would be uncancelled. Oh, no. No, because it could be in there with a vampire. No, it can't be in there with a vampire and a cat. No, that doesn't work. I was thinking, could you put an 8-9 pair in there, in this 8 cage, and argue that the 9 was cancelled as prey, and no, that's not, well, no, that's not quite what I was trying to do was get the contribution of 8 made up by a blue and a yellow, with one of the digits being a 9. But the problem with that is it doesn't work, because then the blue digit, which is trying to collect the prey digit, is collecting the 9, which it can't do, because the 9's obviously too big, which would lead you needing to put... Oh, so maybe you can put an 8-9 pair in there. So can you put an 8-9 pair in there with 8 being a natural digit and 9 being a prey digit? Oh no, okay, no, hang on, I'm forgetting, aren't I? I've already used my prey digits, 8s. No, sorry, I'm getting totally confused. In this box and this box, we have to remember... Maybe if I put the 8-9 like this, I will remember. I've used up my prey 8 and my prey 9. So if I do put a big digit in this 8 cage, it's got to be the 8, and it's got to be accompanied by a prey digit, which is not a 9. There, I think that's right. But it's perfectly possible not to put that digit in there if it goes there. Then it would be knocked out of here. Okay, yeah, this is probably where... this is something I could have looked at earlier, wasn't it? Because I was thinking about this. So this 19... well, I want to say this can't be a 2, actually. Actually, they are. I don't think this can be a 3 either. I think this is a 5. Right, let's think about this. So, this digit, whatever it is picking up the digit that lives in the 4 cage. Oh, those cells are all green. Which is the prey digit. Now, we know that the prey digit is not 8 or 9, so it's a maximum, I think, of 7 in here. So if this was 2, we'd add 7 to that. No, and obviously 2 plus 7 requires this to be a 10 in order to get to 19, so that doesn't work. Now if this was 3, and this was 9, and that was 7, then it would work. Oh, sorry, somehow in my mind I had it very crystal clear that this couldn't be 3, but I'm now thinking that's total and utter nonsense. And I've only used one of the vampiric high numbers up here. So in terms of vampiric numbers, we've used 7, 8 or 9. The digit that's down here, so that's 2, 3 or 6. So we do have another high. Oh, maybe that's the way to think about this. So maybe this has to be a high vampiric number. At least that would then give me a sort of 7, 8, 9 triple on vampirics. So if this wasn't 8 or 9 as a vampiric number, its highest value would be 6. That's not going to work. 6, even if I put... no, it's definitely not going to work, because I can't even put 9 in my prey digit. Highest prey digit I'm allowed now at this point is 7. Oh, it only just doesn't work. Actually, 6 plus 7 plus 5 is 18. That's why this cage is what it is. I see. Right, so the idea here is to realise that this has to be an 8 or a 9, completing the 8, 9 vampiric digit. So, right, so now this 4 cage definitely has 1 and 3 in it, as the 2 digits that are not the prey digit. And it has that whatever the other digit is the digit that gets this up to the right total. Now, but that's been... okay, if that's not 3 or 5 now... well, those two I said added up to 7, didn't I? So that's not 5 anymore. So this is 2 or 4. Okay. Now, let's think about this. So, if this is 3, then I need... there's only one way it would work then. 9 here, 7 in here. I would love to be able to rule that out. But I don't see how to. Sorry, no, I don't see how to do that. Okay, if this is 5 on the other hand, then this and whatever's in here have to add up to 14. So this would either need to be a 6 or a 5. And have I got rid of any of those from possible preyage? No. That's Bobbinsworthy, isn't it? That really is Bobbinsworthy. That digit is now down there in box 8. Ah, okay, so that digit is A. Oh, wow, wow. Wow, yes, okay, this is fabulous. That digit is A, by Sudoku, purely by Sudoku. I know it lives down here. Now I'm actually confusing myself. No, that's right, isn't it? There's an 8-9 pair within those 3 cells. So the digit that's down here that's 8-9 is not those two, it's that one, which means there's an 8-9A here, which must be the same as this 8-9. So that means in this box look, A and A combine and plonk A in there. Now this is what I was just thinking about before, and now I can't remember exactly what was I saying. I didn't think that this could be 9, did I? If I put 9 in here, it has to be prey, and it can't be prey, because one of those two is prey, so it cannot be 9. It just can't be. This digit, A, is 8. Let's put that in. So that means I've got a 7-9 pair here, which is quite interesting, because that means that I've used up the 9 vampire. Oh, no, okay, that's the same as this, isn't it? I've used up the 8 here, so the 9 gets used up there, so that's not actual knowledge. We've just learned there's no 8 in those cells anymore. There is now definitely an 8 in here, and that 8, I see. So that 8 is not able to be a cancelled 8, because that's the cancelled 8 in the puzzle. So that's a real 8 accompanied by a prey digit. So this is an 8 yellow. It's a yellow 8 pair, which means that's not prey. Oh, this is absolutely brilliant. You can I can just sense why this is 100% rated. It's because it's just quite brilliant. It's mad. It's mad as a badger, but it is beautiful. Now 9 by Sudoku has to be there, surely, because it definitely can't go in the 8 cage and be cancelled, because it was already cancelled here. So that square is a 9. Nine has been vampiric already, so that's not a vampiric digit. So the vampiric digit is in one of those cells, which means that the vampiric digit over there is in one of those cells, which means those cells are green by the power of not being blue or yellow. And that value now is less than it was. That can't be 3 now. If that was 3, we said we needed a 7-9 pair in order to get the 16 that we need. So that's impossible now. So that's a 5. That's a 2, because we know they add up to 7. So this is a 3-4 pair. And we can presumably work out the value of the prey in box 9. It's going to be 13. It's going to be 6, actually. It's 136 we've got to put in there, which means, okay, 3s are aligning now. If we ask where 3 goes in column 7, it's not there, it's not there, so there's a 3 up here. And what? 9 by Sudoku is in that cell. Oh, this is right. Okay, so now I've pushed a 7 into my 10 cage. Right, which we said those two squares had to add up to 9. So we know how that works now. That's got to be a 2-7 pair. So there is a vampiric 2 living in here, which means that cell is not 2-5 anymore. So this is 3-4. Those squares up there are 2-5. It's such a strange rule set, but the marvellous thing about it is that you can sort of, blunder through this. 5, 6, and 8, I want to say these are. I shouldn't have said you can blunder through it, because I will now come to an abrupt halt and it'll be infuriating. 2 by Sudoku is in one of those 2 cells. So no, that 8 cage is made up of a real 8 which contributes its entire total, and a prey digit that has been bitten. Right. Okay. 1 is getting quite restricted in the this box down here. Do we think that 7 cage is going to be natural or not? That's the question I want to ask now. I think it's going to be a real 1, 2, 4 cage, which actually would be quite handy if it was, because that would give me a 2-4 pair there by Sudoku. That, in fact, that looks likely, doesn't it? So if we had a 2-4 pair there, we'd have 5, 7. We'd have a 9 here. Oh no, hang on. Ooh. Ah, right. This doesn't work, in fact. It doesn't work. And the way to see it doesn't work is not to do what I just did at all. It's to use Sudoku on this box. 9 is placed here. And the moment 9 is placed here, strange things start to happen, look. 5 gets pencil marked into these squares, which takes it out of here. Now I want to come back here. If that was a 1, 2, 4 natural collection of digits, you can see that 2 and 4 in row 7. Let me just pencil mark this in. In fact, let's put in 1, 2 and 4, because it doesn't matter about the order. Where would 2 and 4 go in this row? And the answer is they can't go in those cells, they can't go there, so they're in here, along with the 5. Now we can't make 2 different cells, 3 different digits, without giving ourselves a headache. So let's not do that. So there's something wrong with this 7 cage. Now I don't know what that wrong thing is yet. I presume it's got to have... Well, we've got to subtract digits from it now. I'm just pausing there because I'm thinking in my mind, is it possible that I subtract and add digits? Well, it's definitely got to have a prey digit in it. That's a yellow digit, definitely. So that digit is getting negated. Now, if it had a vampire in it, that would restore the nature of this cage to a 3-cell cage. So it would have to have 2 of the 3 digits, 1, 2 and 4 in it. But that might be enough to get me out of trouble. Like, say that was the 2. And there was a 1, 4 pair in here, with the 4 being vampiric. I'm getting confused. I think that might work, or at least I don't think the Sudoku breaks in this row if we do that. 3 is in one of 2 places in row 7 by Sudoku. We must know more than we used to know about column 4. 3s, 4s, 5s and 6s into the balance of cells there, some of which are in a 15 cage, but that 15 cage might contain a naughty square. Wow. I mean, there's not much here that we've... Oh, hang on, there's an 8. Is that a naked single? Yes, that's a 6, look. There's an 8 looking at it. Okay. Has that changed any of my conclusions about the world? No, I don't think so. Those aren't able to be 6, I've just noticed. I've got a 6 looking at these. So this is 2, 3, 4. Is 2, 3 or 4? Can't be 5 because of this 5, 8 pair down here. Do we know what goes in there? That is a naughty digit, isn't it? It's a digit that's been bitten. So, and it's not by Sudoku. So the digit that's been bitten in this box is either 1, 2, 6 or 7 by Sudoku. 1, 2, 6 or 7. It's not 1 or 2. They have already been bitten, so it's 6 or 7. 7, I thought, for some reason, I thought that had been bitten already. 6, no, 6 has been bitten. It's not 6, it's, wow, okay. I'm just going to double check that because that felt weird. So there's definitely a 6 that's been bitten down here. There's a 1 and a 2. Yeah, so it's like a weird naked singly type thing, because once you knock out 1, 2 and 6 as the options for the yellow digit here, and you can see 3, 4, 5, 8 and 9 are also knocked out, that becomes a 7-8 pair, with the 7 being prey. Sorry, not such a brief pause there. I'd forgotten the gutter man was coming round, and the gutter man needed to talk to me about my gutters. So although I hope in the fullness of time I'm going to have clean gutters, I have got I've only just come back to the puzzle, and I suspect that I'm not going to remember exactly everything I was doing. Let's have a look at what I was doing. I was working on this cage up here where, what had I done? Let me just look at this. 2, 3, 4. I'd put 8 and 7 in there. Why had I done that? Oh, yes, okay. Now, I have resurrected that memory from my mind. That is because we'd worked out there was a yellow digit in there that couldn't be 8. And by Sudoku, and sort of the fact that we'd already had all the other yellow digits used, we worked out there was a 7 in here. So, all right, I can do some... The yellow digit in this column, therefore, is in that domino. That seems to be the corollary of this being a 7-8 pair. Those squares are 1, 2 and 6. Oh no, he's not come back again, has he? No, I think it's all right. I think it's all right. I might get called away again. Okay, sorry, 1, 2 and 6 here. That's not blue by the power of blueness here. So one of these digits is the vampire. Now, do we know what the nature of that naughty vampire is? It's... No. Well, we know it's not 2, actually. 2 is the vampire down there. So there is a 1 or 6 vampire in this domino. Oh, yes, okay. Now look up here, look. 2 of those 3 cells are 1 and 6. So it almost feels like it wants us to have a 1-6 vampire pairing. What's the collective noun for a group of vampires? I don't know what it is, actually. Is it a coven? It's more like witches. I don't know. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but we've got that in terms of... Well, we've almost got that in terms of 1s and 6s. If we can prove that the blue digit here is 1 and 6, then we'd just have 3, 4 and 5 to find in blue. Actually, that's quite interesting as well. 3 is quite difficult to put. 3 could be there, actually, couldn't it? Yes, okay, so a blue... Oh, no, hang on. No. Hang on, where is the blue 3? 3... Actually, that's a good question. Where is the blue 3 in this puzzle? And the answer, I think is here, but I might be wrong. I'm just going to look at this for a bit longer. I have not put a blue 3 in the puzzle. I don't think. And I don't think it can be... Well, I've got a 3 pencil mark. That does seem a valid 3 pencil mark. I've got a 3 pencil mark up here, which cannot be the blue 3, because I've already got the blue in this column. This box cannot have a blue 3 in it, because it has a green 3 in it. This box, the 3 seems to be there, and that can't be blue. So the only box that can contain a blue 3 is this one, which makes that a rather lovely 136 triple. Which gives me a little bit of pencil mark. That's well, it gives me a 3 there, of course, by Sudoku. So that knocks 3 out of those squares. And we know, okay, and we know that the digit here that is blue is the 3. So in fact, that's just become a 6, has it? By Sudoku, of all things. So in which case it's not blue, is it? It's got to be something else. It's got to be green. So one of these is the blue 3, and neither of those is now a 6. So this is a 1-3 pair. So if that was the blue 3, it would be picking up a 2 and that would get us 5 in this cell. These two would have to add up to 7. Which, this is a blue 3 and these have to add up to 7. The problem is now, could one of those be a negated cell? Maybe, although... Maybe it would have to... No, hang on. So it'd be a normal 7 in here. And a negated something. That might work. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, but alright, the 15 cage is now all natural greenliness cells. So we can do that. Well, we can't. Well, the simpler way to do it is to say you can't repeat the 6 in it. Look, so that we get the 6 in box 2. We get a 4-5 pair here. These squares are now 4, 5, and 7. Which we don't seem to know how to do. Can you really put 9 in a 7 cage? Only if it's... No! Aha! Right, we can't put 9 in this 7 cage. I don't know why I've pencil marked it down here. That was a bit remiss. If you put 9 down here, it has to be negated in the 7 cage, and it can't be negated in the 7 cage because it's already been bitten, so it doesn't have to get rebitten. That's a 9. That 9 is not, we know it's not the vampire, because that's the vampire up there, so that's a green cell. Ah, double clicked, lost my army. So in this column maybe now, we need 4, 5, 7 and 8. No, that was probably not the most intelligent thought I've ever had. 4, 5, 7 and 8. That cell, literally I think almost nothing is... Oh, there is a 5 actually looking sideways there that I'd missed. That cell's come down to 4 or 7. Do we know its colour? Probably not. And... Do we know about this 7 cage then? We know it's got a prey cell in it. I'm wondering whether it could have a vampire. Oh, that would make this the vampire cell. Oh gosh, I almost feel like in my mind I have to audit now. What have I... Oh, the other thing I didn't do was, what about the bitten cells? 9, 8, 7, 6. 9, 8, 7, 6, 1 and 2. 3, 4 and 5 are the cells that... So 3 Ah, it's these threes. It's the threes that are the key. Look, 3 is needs to be a prey cell somewhere. It's not a prey cell here, which has to be in the 7 cage. It's not in this box because the 3s are green. So it's there. One of those cells is the prey 3, which means that... Okay, so that means we still haven't identified the prey 4 and the prey 5. So the prey 4, so that now there is definitely a prey 4 or prey 5 in the 7 cage, which if it was a 4 would marry up here and put a 4-5 pair there. If it was the 5, I think it does rather less. And I haven't convinced myself that there isn't a vampire cell in here as well. If there was a vampire cell in there and a prey cell in there, then the prey cell and the vampire cell cancel each other out, don't they? Because the prey cell would count nothing, but then the vampire cell would say, no, prey cell, I'm counting you again. So it would be restored to a 3-cell 7 cage, and it would have to be a 1-2-4 triple. Which doesn't work. Which doesn't work. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, that is it. Oh, that's beautiful. Right. I'm going to go do this slowly because this is beautiful. This triple here has to be, well, it doesn't have to be anything, but were it to contain a vampire cell, then let's actually just organise. Let's just guess what the order might be, just for the sake of exposition. We know there would be 1 green cell in there, 1 yellow cell, and 1 blue cell. So in computing the total of the cage, this cell would not be counted. But then this cell would say, aha, I'm going to add that back in again. So this cell would count for those 2 cells, and that cell would count on its own. In other words, it would become a 3-cell 7 cage, which must be a 1-2-4 cage, which doesn't work because now where do I put 1, 2 and 4 in this row? 1 is fine, but 2 and 4 have to go over there where we've got a pencil mark 5. So these 2 digits would have to be selected from 3 different, well, these 2 cells would have to be from 3 different, what am I trying to say here? These 2 cells would have to contain 3 different numbers, 2, 4 and 5, and that's not going to work. So that is a very long-winded way of saying that that is pure yellow. And that's interesting because now blue in that box has to be there, which means that's not blue, which means that is blue, which means it is 2, I think. So that's 2, that's 7, that's not 7 anymore. Don't tell me that's all that does. That would be so mean. Do I have the same problem with putting 7 that I had with putting 9 in my 7 cage? If I put 7 in the 7 cage, it would have to be either negated, which it can't be, or accompanied by 2 negators, because the other 2 digits couldn't count for anything, and that won't work. Right, so there's no 7 in that cage, which means by Sudoku there is a 7 in one of those 3 cells, which means by Sudoku there's a 7 in one of these 2 cells, and that does nothing. Ah! Right. Okay. Okay. So therefore, am I any closer to working out what this 7 cage is then? This 7 cage, it's got one negator in it, or one prey cell in it. So it's got 2 digits in it that add up to 7. So what are those 2 digits? They're not 3, 4, because there's a 3 up here. So it's either got 1, 6 in it, which it could well do actually, or it's got 2, 5 in it, which would put a 2 here and a 2 up there. Oh, I can't actually see what's wrong with that. Bobbins McBobbins face. Oh, okay. So how do we do this then? What digits have we used up? That feels like it's the key to me. I've got to keep better track of what I've used up. Have I used 4, 5, and 8? I've certainly used 8. Well, yeah, but that might not be the vampire. 4 and 5. Oh, yes, okay. 4 and 5 are the digits that I've not used in yellow now, because one of those is 3. Yeah, I've got it. Right, okay. Yellow here. Well, there's 2 digits in that 7 cage that add up to 7. Well, it's not 2, 5 now. Because if it was 2, 5 and they were counting, the digit that would be in there with them, which was the prey cell, would be a 4. Because we've only got 4 and 5 to play with. And if that's 2, 4, 5, those cells have that problem again. That just doesn't work. So this is not... So the 2 cells in this yellow cage that add up to 7 are not 3, 4, and they're not 2, 5. They are 1 and 6. Whoa, that took a lot of thinking about. So it's 1, 6, and either the 4 or the 5. But it's definitely got 1 and 6 in it. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. That's not done anything. No, come on. Come on, you've got to be kidding. 1, 6, and 4 or 5. I don't think it does. I don't think it's worth a hill of beans. That's so mean. Okay, I am absolutely stunned by that. Oh, wow. I felt that was going to be huge as a deduction. Those cells are now green. I think that's probably been available for a while. I just didn't see it. Oh, so in this column, I've almost got a very restricted situation in terms of my blue digit. It's either there, in which case it's not 8, so it would be 4 or 5, or it's here, in which case it's not 8 or 7, so it would be 4 or 5. So there's a 4 or a 5 blue in this column. Maybe it's this 12 cage again then. I haven't really thought very hard about this. Okay, let me think about this hard. I know that I can't... If this is blue... Yeah, if this is blue, we know it's the blue 3, don't we? Let's think about this slowly. Because this is the only box that can contain the blue 3. Because that one's got the yellow 3 in it. And a digit can't be both colours. So if that is the blue 3, it's counting for 7. Sorry, it's counting for 5 and it needs 7 more. Which couldn't be 3, 4, but... it couldn't be 3, 4, it couldn't be 1, 6, and it couldn't be 2, 5. So it looks broken, but I think the problem I've got here is... Couldn't I put a yellow digit in there and then have a 7 in? So I have a natural 7 in here, along with a yellow digit that's 4 or 5. Something like that. That would make this an 8. So I have a yellow digit in here. That would make this a yellow digit. don't know. I wish I did know, that's for sure. But I don't think I do know. Okay, so I can't... Alright, let's try it the other way around. If that's a 1, we know that that's a 3, and that's the vampire. That's the vampire. If this is a 1, it's completely natural. So these digits add up to 11. Oh no, but they're 11, but they're subject to all sorts of nonsenses, aren't they? So we don't know how that works, is the long and short of that. Wow, okay. So I'm now completely and utterly stuck. This is the official situation of Simon. That's a green digit. It sees... not yellow, it's green. It sees yellow and blue in its column. So I know quite a lot about the world now in terms of this puzzle. I know that there's a blue 1 or 6 here. There's a blue 3 here. So in terms of blues, it's 4, 5s, 1s and 6s that we've not done. But I don't... 1 can't go there, can it? 1 can't go here. 1 can't go... We know, yeah, okay, we do know there's a 1 in the... We know there's a 1 in that yellow cage, which takes 1 out of there. So maybe it's 1, therefore, that we've got to think about. But no, it's not. It's not. Because it's absolutely fine for there to be a 1 in there that's the blue digit, isn't it? We know hardly anything about box 3. And it could be here as well, obviously. Alright, let's try that the other way. No, 6 is fine. 6 well, 6 is not in that one. 6 is not in that one in blue. 6 could be in this one in blue. Okay, maybe let's think about it a different way then. What is the blue digit in this box? And I think it's got to be 4 or 5. I think. But I don't know which. Because it's not 1 or 6, they're not there. It's not 2. It's not 3, which is up there somewhere. It could be 4 or 5. It can't be 6, that's down here. It can't be 7. It can't be 8. It can't be 9. Yeah, so one of these digits is 4 or 5. Oh, which forms a virtual pair in the box. With the fact that I know that there's a 4 or a 5 yellow in there. Good grief. So there is a 4-5 virtual pair in that P pentomino and makes that a 7 by Sudoku. Which means that's not a 7. That's not a 7. That, oh look, I could have got this before. That's a 7. I have a horrible feeling it's not going to do anything though. This box, we still got to put in 2, 4 and 5 into those squares. 2, 4 and 5. And I know there's a 4 or a 5 here. Can I somehow deduce something clever here? Please, please, let me deduce something clever. Do I know? What do I know about this? It's the 6, isn't it? That's the yellow digit down here. But I don't think I know enough about 6s to know what's going on. I know there's a 4 or a 5 in one of these. Which means it's going to go up there and in one of those two cells. Everything just, it just sort of works quite cunningly. Oh, I tell you what doesn't work. Where does 8 go in this box? Ah, that's a good question. It's got to go in one of those cells. That's giving me an 8 here. Is that doing magic? 8, 5. 5 comes out of those cells. Hang on, I've just put that 5 and 8 the wrong way around. I've gone completely mad. That's a 5. That's the 8. I was just looking at the Sudoku implication going, it just doesn't work. Ah, that's it. That's it. Good grief. Wow. Okay. I'm excited about this because now the digit that is in here that accompanies the 8 is a 4. Because we know that there was a blue 4 or a blue 5 in this domino. So that has literally become a 4-8 pair, which might be helpful. 3, 4, 2, 4, 5 up here. So this is 3 and something. 2 and 3, in fact. Okay, is this doing it? So there's now no 4 in this 7 cage. So this 7 cage becomes 1, 5 and 6. So 5 is now being used in yellow, which means that 4 in yellow is up here somewhere. Well, it's not there, in fact, or there. 4 in yellow is in one of those 4 cells, which means that's not a 4. Still doesn't matter, I don't think. 1, 5, 6 here. 5 is not there, so this has become 1 or 6. That's become 1 or 6. We've got a 1, 6 pair at the start and end of row 8. What a puzzle, though. What a puzzle this is. Not an easy puzzle. Right, the 4, 5 pair here and a 4 there. So there's a 4 at the top of this column. One of those cells. That's not a 2. By our old friend Sudoku. And we get stuck again. Ah, no! Oh, I tell you what we can do here. This is that's it. Yes, of course. Right. Where is the prey digit in box 7? Well, it's in one of those 2 cells, which means that's the prey digit in box 9. And if it's the prey digit, we know it's a 6, because we know the prey digit down here is not the 1 and the 3, which are necessary to add up to 4. So this square becomes a 1. This becomes a 5, 6 pair. The 1. Oh, look! Now we're away. Come on. Or are we? Well, we might be. We might be, because now I've got a 3 here, which I know is the vampire. I know that's the vampire, because I needed somewhere to put my vampiric 3. I've now found it. I also know, more than I used to, about the prey digit in box 1, which I know is a 4 now. So this 3 is contributing 5. These still have to add up to 7. So could the 4 go in here as the prey with a 7? Could that be a 4-7 pair is what we're now asking. And the answer is yes. I don't believe it. In fact, no. Right. In fact, that is what happens, isn't it, of course? That must be what happens, because if that doesn't happen, how do we make these naturally add up to 7? They can't be 3, 4, the 3 would repeat in the cage. They can't be 1, 6, and they can't be 2, 5. So it is. That is a 4-7 pair. That's beautiful as well, because one of those is yellow, which means these are not 4. This is now a 5. This is a 4. This is an 8. 8 and 4 go in at the bottom. That's a 5. Now one of these was the vampire, which was the 4. So that one's not a vampire anymore. So that one's not a vampire anymore. So the vampire is in one of those 2 cells in box number 1 by Sudoku, which means by Sudoku, look, we've not put a vampire in this cell. Also, that's become the 3 because this one can't be yellow anymore. So yes, green is appropriate because it does see vampire and it sees prey. One of those 2 cells is a vampire, so these cells are all green. These cells are green. This 3 sees the 3 and the 1. The 5 sees the 2, that sees a 5, that sees a 2. So those squares have to be 1s, 3s and 4s, which we can do the middle one, and the top one, and the bottom one. 1, okay, so now we know these digits, actually. That's a 4 by Sudoku. And these digits are 1, 6 and 9. Oh, well, I thought that was going to be resolved, but okay, 9 I can do. 9 must be here. I get a 1-6 pair. Now 9 is not vampiric because it's vampiric there. So that cell becomes green. That one must be the vampiric one, which I don't know what it is yet. It's a 1 or a 6, but it's the same as this. Right, so we've now got a 1-6. Well, we know, yes, okay, given we know that's the vampire, we know that's not the vampire here. So we know that's the vampire, which can't be a 2 because of this 2. So this is a 1-6 vampiric X-wing type thing, and that means that the digit we've not vampired yet is 5. I'm just checking that in my head. That does seem right. So there is a 5 over there, along with a 2. So this is a 2-5 pair, which is somehow not resolved. Those squares have got to be 9 and 6. Oh, 6 and 9 we can do. 6 and 9, 9 and 8, 6, oh I see, 6 and 5 at the bottom. Now, yeah, the 1 and the 6 are necessary to be adding up to the right number. So that gives us a 5 in the corner as the prey, which means that's the prey, which was a 4, unless my memory mistakes me. So that's a 7 and it's green. Oh, this is, I mean, it's just mad. It's absolutely mad. This has become a 7. That's become a 4 by Sudoku. And now, goodness only knows what's going on. We've got... There must be some way of resolving this top piece. And I don't know what it is. It's going to be something like, well, okay, 6, sorry, so this 6 is seeing that cell. So that's 1, that's 6, that's 1, that's 6, that's 2. Okay, that's great. So that's 1, that's 3, that's 3, that's 4, that's 4, that's 5. 5 by Sudoku is not going to get resolved at the top, is it? We've got 5, 7 and 8 into these squares. That's not able to be 8. And in this column we've got 2, 7 and 8. We really need this to work. That's what we need. So look, okay, where does 9 go? This 9 is useful. 9, 7. So that becomes... Oh, come on, this must be resolved, isn't it? Oh, it is, of course, because this is prey, goodness me. Oh, I see. And that being prey forces this. The digit we've not had as prey yet is the 7. Wow. And that's going to do the deadly pattern at the end. 5, 5, 2, 7, 8, 2... Oh, hang on, 8. I was about to get that wrong. Now, what do we need up here by way of blue digit? Oh, right, the blue digit here is not 7, so we could have got it different. I think there was a couple of ways to unwind this last step. Therefore, that's not blue, that's green. This is blue. The 7 here, it was the 7, not the 8, that was meant to be the correct colour. And even though we got gutted in the middle of that, I think, I'm just going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The blues seem right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay. That, I believe, is the correct solution. That was very, very interesting indeed. Completely and utterly mad. Well deserving of its 100% rating, because setting that and making it that interesting is an absolute triumph. Mad-Tyas, take a bow. Let me know in the comments whether you got bitten by the vampires today. I'd imagine a few of you out there are going to have been, let's say, turned to the dark side. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.